Welcome back.
Welcome.
This is the last week of March, and this is
Ayesha fucked up.
I was gonna say this is Ayesha and half of this podcast,
This is Lexi, the other half of the podcast, the
And-
one that didn't mess up.
and no, it's not that I messed up. I just so we were supposed to read Daydream, and we are gonna read Daydream. We're just gonna do it next week. So the sequels theme month is going
Broken. It's broken. It's incomplete.
So we are reading Daydream, but that's not this episode. This episode is going to be Phantasma by Kaylie Smith, because I just couldn't get through Daydream in time.
You didn't even start
I read
Daydream.
this first, and I should.
She hasn't even started Daydream. What are you talking
I'm
about?
5 chapters in. I should have read Daydream and then Phantasma,
Yeah.
but instead I read it the other way around, and then I didn't finish Daydream in time to release for the last week. So we're going to just swap them. So Phantasma is technically supposed to be the first week of April.
I know
but
we gave you a hint
today-
last week, but Ayesha went and fucked it all up.
I don't know.
She had one job.
I thought that I could get the 2 books done in the
Honestly,
time frame,
you
and I
could have.
not.
You just didn't commit.
I know. I him and hawed over it a little bit. And I just kept bouncing around and starting a book here and then be like, I'm not feeling this, and starting another book. I have 4 books.
See,
on
that's
the go.
that's the problem with you, Ayesha. Is you are okay.
I hate doing that, but
You're okay reading half a book and being like, you know what, not in the mood for this. If I read half the book and I was like, I'm not really in the mood for this, I would still finish the book.
nah. If I'm not feeling a book,
Unless it's absolutely something I hate, I will not stop.
No, see, we're different that way. Yeah, we're definitely different that way, because I would just be like, I guess I'm reading this. I guess I'm not reading this right now, and I just would stop.
Yeah, I don't have that.
But I don't let myself get 50% in. I get to 10, 20%, and then I'm like, nah, and then I stop. You wait till 50%, and then you're like, ooh, I should have stopped, but I'm here. So that's how
Honestly, once I pass 20%, I'm like, I'm committed. We're committed.
Oh, no. That's not how I work. So Anyway, we are reading Daydream, just not today. So this week, there's no theme for April. We just picked 2 books each because we've been in a slump.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm out of the slump, but you should still.
I'm deep. I'm deep in it still. So Phantasma is what we picked. So this week we read Phantasma. I apologize if you were looking forward to Daydream, but it is coming, and it is with me next week.
By the time we read it, you read it, I'm gonna forget everything that happened in the book, and then I'll be like, "Oh, that happened? I don't remember that."
No, we'll record it next week. Okay, so let's go Phantasma. I haven't read a fantasy book, unless you can. Would you count Wolfsong as fantasy?
No.
Because more paranormal.
Yeah.
So I haven't read a fantasy book in a really long time. Unless you include monster sci-fi as fantasy, then I literally haven't read a fantasy book in a very long time.
No, Ayesha, they don't count.
Have you read fantasy on and off?
I read fantasy on and off.
You jump around.
Yeah, I mean, you can't read I can't read a lot of it all at once.
See, and that's where
My problem with fantasy is you have to spend so much time world building that I'm just I'm so zoned out right now.
But that's why romantases are good, because typically romantases aren't as heavy in world building. But that's why I haven't committed to reading the ACOTAR series, because they're just so intense, and I just don't know if I have that commitment in me.
Well, they're not finished, and you don't like reading finished.
I hate reading unfinished series.
But you're gonna be waiting until Sarah J. Maas dies, because she's gonna write. I heard a theory, because it's the people who conspiracy theory about when Taylor Swift is dropping things is the same people who conspiracy theory about ACOTAR. They're the same type of person, you know? They're different sides of the same coin here. But I heard a theory that she's going to give each sister a trilogy.
I mean, I don't understand that, because I haven't read any of them, so I have zero idea what that
Farrah's,
means.
There's 3 sisters.
Okay.
Farrah has the original trilogy.
Okay.
And then Nesta's Court of Silver Flame.
Is the last book.
Which is the last book she released.
Okay.
And some people are thinking because
She's going to go back and keep going with Nesta?
she's going to keep going with Nesta, even though most people think the next book is going to be one of the other characters. But then she did say that the next book she's going to release is going to be an ACOTAR book. But she hasn't announced anything else other than it's coming in like next year, I think. I don't think
2026?
Yeah, I don't think there's a book coming this year. 2026 or 2027.
That's so long
because
from now.
The thing is she rushed out that last Crescent City book, and everyone hates the third Crescent City book, and I will say it's not a good book.
Not a good book.
And she even said, she was like, I didn't like it when I sent it to my editor. I didn't like the book, and I was like, well, why did we release it if we didn't like the book?
Because everybody wanted it, and they wanted to like give the masses what they want.
Because it just kind of like I felt like we're just filling time in the book, and like we didn't accomplish anything. She wanted to do a crossover, so we got that. But other than that,
so it's really just bridging them together.
Yeah, and like, but other than that, I felt like that last book was just like we just wasted fucking time here.
Also, isn't it like 600 pages?
It's 900 pages each.
Oh god! Oh my!
I
god.
read 600 pages of it, and then the library, my library thing lapsed, and I was like, well, I don't feel like getting the rest of it, so it's now sitting on my Goodreads, just half done because I don't feel like getting the rest.
600.
I read 600 pages, and then I couldn't read the rest of it.
Oh god! Okay, 900 pages. Yeah, that's a big one. Wow. Okay. So that is why I can't even do if a series has more than 5 books in it. I can't even read more than 5 books in a row.
Some is like
series.
The thing is, it's like I quite enjoy the ones that like they're. I don't want to say they're urban fantasies because like they like
the Juliet Cross or the that's the one we read with the vampire who's a Bollywood star.
Oh, okay.
Like that style.
But that's not fantasy. That's paranormal.
Witches,
vampires, that's paranormal.
Okay, so what would you consider urban fantasy? So
urban fantasy is like, there's like, in particular, fae is what I associate with fantasy.
Okay.
So like, how the Folk of the Air series.
Yeah.
It's fantasy, but you still like, it's like literally just like a different like land. So, like, they can go back to the human world all the fuck they want. And that's what I like of, like, it's still kind of grounded in, like...
Oh, like the veil.
Yeah.
Like, they cross the veil.
We're realistically still in the human world.
So then would you consider... Have you read that Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kolba?
Yeah, but there's no fucking in it.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a, like, new adult.
But there's no fucking in it. They're fade to black.
Yeah, it's like he puts it in, and they have sex. But so that book you'd consider urban fantasy because they cross the veil?
No, because that's a historical. So that's a fantasy.
Oh my god.
Okay, think of it like this.
Okay, give me another example. What's something I've read that you're like, this would be urban fantasy? Kelsey Cole would be paranormal.
No, it's urban fantasy.
There's an urban fantasy.
Yeah.
Because they're Valkyries?
They're different. Like,
so it can't be a vampire or werewolf?
I think vampire
else?
werewolf is paranormal. Vampire werewolves with witches, paranormal. That is. But if there's fae, if there's Valkyries, if there are like different types of like beings that all coexist.
And Shifter is paranormal.
And Shifter's paranormal. Yes. I mean, you could argue that all paranormal is urban fantasy, but I think that's the line.
Okay, but that's my thought. I thought paranormal and urban fantasy were the same thing.
They're two completely different things.
Oh my god. Okay.
Two completely different words.
So you read urban fantasies, not fantasy.
I prefer no.
You prefer fantasies?
I prefer an urban fantasy
over a fantasy.
I will read it like a fantasy.
Okay, because urban fantasy is grounded in
urban fantasy
contemporary. Like it's still got a contemporary ground to it, where it's like the world that we know today, and you don't have to explain the world to me.
Yeah, I would say like traditional fantasy is usually like
A whole new place.
a whole new place, where like urban fantasy is like, oh, they live in a city. It's kind of like, think of it like this: Crescent City, urban fantasy. Akatar, fantasy.
Okay, I haven't read either of those, so
Okay.
maybe that doesn't make sense to me.
It should make sense to everybody else who's listening.
Okay.
Okay, we're just.
So then, Phantasma.
I would say urban fantasy.
Really? Because there's
'Cause they-
bitches and devils?
No, because they take place in
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
This reminded me kind of like the Kelsey Cole style.
It takes place in New Orleans, and it's like kind of coexisting within the city, urban city,
Okay.
rather than like we're going off to a faraway land where they use swords and and they have a weird magic system that have made up words.
Okay. Okay, I see what you mean. All right. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so then urban fantasy is what our first trope. You consider this an urban fantasy over a
I mean, some
romantasy?
people. I think most people would call this a romantasy, but I would consider this an urban fantasy.
Okay.
That's just me. The
Okay.
dictionary I am.
Yeah, your strong suit dictionary. Okay, so let's jump into tropes then. Ghosts.
Ghosts. Ghosts be fucking. Ghosts who fuck.
Okay, did you not also get Danny Phantom vibes? Come on.
I
Come
did
on.
understand what you meant by Danny Phantom vibes, just because he has the white hair and he's a ghost and he is a phantom.
He's literally a phantom.
But honestly, when I was reading that, anytime there's like a bleach blonde boy and a girl with dark hair, kind of curly hair, dark curly hair, it's Hermione fanfic to me.
I don't like her hair is curly.
It's like wavy.
I thought it was just brown.
Anyway, brown hair girl.
I mean, this didn't have any other Hermione aspects to it, though. So I don't think that counts.
No. But he does have an evil dad, and Draco does
That's
have
true.
an evil dad.
That's true.
Evil dad curses him. Can't be with the girl he loves.
I mean, I guess it's kind of Hermione. I don't know.
That's just what.
We were
that's
on different
just-
corners of the internet.
That's just me. That's just how I associate with things. Everything's Hermione. Just like everything's a Raylo fanfic, or all Allie Hazelwood books are Raylo fanfic, if you really think about it.
I mean, there are a little bit of that. Yeah, I could see. What other tropes would this be?
Reincarnation.
Yeah.
I love me a good reincarnation.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. Like,
It's like a game. Is that a?
I don't
It's
know,
like it's like the Hunger Games game.
I mean, I don't know what
Trials?
tropes that would be.
Is that? I feel like that should be a trope. I feel like that is a trope.
I mean, would you consider this? Okay, so a lot of people consider this dark fantasy, but the only reason it's dark is because it's gory. So, like, I would.
Yeah,
So I would
I
say
guess,
dark.
like-
I guess.
it is dark. I guess because for some reason, time somebody dies in a book, they're just like, that's a dark book.
Gothic.
Yeah, gothic fantasy would be good.
I want to say, well, what am I? Friends with benefits? It's like people who help each other that also fuck. Because they're not like friends, but then
I
they're-
mean, they do like
at the beginning they're not
enemies to
friends.
with benefits
Enemies with benefits,
because they're not friends.
but then they end up friends or they end up lovers. They go enemies to lovers, enemies who fuck to lovers.
I guess.
Loosely enemies to lovers.
This is like a treasure hunt, right?
No, it's like a game show.
No, because she's also hunting for his soul or the key to his soul.
Yeah, or something like that.
So, treasure hunt because she's hunting for treasure.
Is that even a trope?
That's not a trope, but I'm saying it's a trope now. I've made it up.
I made it up. Okay. I don't know. This isn't this isn't crazy tropey.
No.
because it's kind of its own thing. Although, like, is it, if it wasn't enemies to lovers, would it be a fantasy? Like, basically all enemies to lovers are fantasies.
True. But no one wants to read a friends to lover fantasy.
I mean,
there's a lot of strangers to lovers.
Isn't that everybody? Isn't everybody a stranger?
I guess at some point. I guess at some point. But then what classifies as a friend to lover or enemies to lover rather than a stranger to lover? Because at some point everyone was a stranger.
So they're all strangers to lovers. I guess. You really I don't know why.
I'm poking holes in every system here. I'm abolishing this book talk language.
I'm not sure how we got here. Okay. Should we go trigger warnings?
Sure.
Gory.
It's gory. Dead mom.
She also literally kills somebody. Multiple people. Like, she kills 2 people.
Yeah.
One of them is, like, literally a fight to the death.
Literally, one of them doesn't someone get smushed?
Yes.
Like,
at the table.
Yeah, fully smushed.
Yeah. She also pushes somebody into, like, a saw, like one of those pendulum blades, and then she actually just straight up kills somebody.
Like, doesn't she, like, poke his eyeballs or, like...
She chokes him to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bad dad?
I mean, he wasn't that bad if he doesn't remember them, right?
See, but, okay, so let's circle back to that, because, I mean, I guess bad dad or evil dad, but, like, it's also the fucking devil. Like, I'm not sure what you thought.
He wasn't the devil. Oh, wait, his dad. I thought you were talking about her dad.
No,
I was like,
his dad is the devil.
That is a bad dad. Correct.
Yeah.
But is it fantasy without a bad dad in it?
Someone's dad's got to be bad.
Someone's dad's got to be bad and someone's dad's got to be dead.
Yeah, literally. Someone's got to have dead parents and someone has to have evil parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the number one warning would be the goriness probably of this. I mean, and the fact that, like, the mom dies, like, it's like right the whole first
scene is her cutting her mom's dead body
to get the magic.
To get magic.
To her, yeah. So there's that. Okay. So the Goodreads rating on this is a 4.09. And this has 145,000 ratings. That seems like a lot. That's a lot more than I thought.
People have been talking about this book for a while, Ayesha.
Really?
I've been seeing it everywhere.
I saw it everywhere over the fall. Okay, and then the story graph rating is a 4.08. So, like, smack basically the same. And this has 20,000 ratings on Goodreads. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that does make sense. I guess, yeah. Okay. Okay, so the characters are, what the heck, Ophelia.
I like the name Ophelia. I know, I understand. It's based off, is it Macbeth?
I don't know.
It's one of the Shakespeares. Right?
I just don't like Ophi.
I don't like that name, Ophi.
And then, so Blackwell. We're gonna get to the name thing because I wanna talk about that. So that's one of my points.
Okay.
So, book starts off with her. So her mom is a necromancer.
Yeah.
And one person in the family can have the magic. So you pass it on to the eldest.
Usually daughter, yes.
Every time. So it has to be Ophi because she's older than, what the heck's the sister's name? Genevieve.
Yeah.
And so she gets the magic when her mom dies, which they later find out is her dad's fault. The dad they didn't know.
That was like a mind fuck when I read that scene.
I didn't see that coming.
Because I didn't see it coming, but then on the back of the book it says after her mom was brutally murdered, but then most of the entirety of the book you're just like, but I thought the mom died of natural causes. Like, why is the back of the book trying to sell that she was brutally murdered? And then you get to the end where they're like, the dad fucked up the final task.
Yes.
Technically then murdering the mom.
Yes.
And I was like, damn.
Damn. Yeah.
Because not only did he die, she died.
Does it kill?
Well, only one person can get to the last.
So her dad dies in the games, however that happens, and he kills her mom by picking the wrong person in the...
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he says in the challenge, it's like, if you pick wrong, you die.
I thought if you pick wrong,
they
die.
die. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Yeah. Blackwell confirmed he died.
Yeah.
But that was it.
Or maybe did he just die after?
I don't know.
From despair?
Or he killed himself?
Or someone else killed him?
I don't know.
Because he's been chasing the house around to try to get
to reverse the
curse.
The curse.
But because I'd assume he'd try to go to the thing again because he wouldn't understand the mom's dead.
No, he would have known because he would have picked wrong and lost the challenge. Oh, yeah, maybe you do die. Because if you pick wrong, you also lose the challenge. And usually that's some form of death.
And it's a trick question. So he probably would have died. I think he died.
He must have then. Interesting. Because, like, yeah, okay. Anyway, the mom dies. She gets the magic. So the person that Ophelia is in the beginning is so different than the person you meet in the house. And I couldn't quite reconcile who she was in the beginning, where she was like kind of timid.
Well, because
kept to herself.
When she was outside, her OCD kind of just was in overdrive at all times. And she also wasn't allowed to leave the house because she was always in like some form of training.
Right.
And then also there was like the don't be outside after dark, which I don't understand if that was like...
That was her mom trying to keep them from making deals with the devil.
Even though her mom did make a deal with a demon, but...
Yes, correct.
But I think it was just like outside, her OCD was just so like...
rampant.
Like she had no control over the OCD, so it was just kind of taking over her life. And then she got in the house and Blackwell kind of started like I want to say helping, but like she started noticing that like, hey, if I don't do these things that I'm like feeling compelled to do, nothing bad's gonna happen.
Right.
Because then the demon, her like greatest fear is the OCD that just personified into a demon or like a monster.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Because like I just kept being like, she was so different, and then she gets to this house and she's like sassy, and I was like, I like her.
I think you saw a little bit of the sass, but it was just like obviously her mom just died.
Also true. Like literally, like
her mom just died.
Like 2 days.
She's realizing her sister doesn't actually tell her anything about her life.
Yeah.
And she's going through all these changes, so I honestly didn't hold that against her of like, oh, she didn't have any of that sassy personality. It was just because like Blackwell was there for her to be sassy too, where like at the beginning she didn't have anyone to do that.
I guess so. I don't know. I didn't love this book.
I enjoyed it.
I thought I was gonna love it. I just don't know if I maybe wasn't in the mood for a fantasy.
Kind of once they start fucking, I'm like, I'm good.
The one thing I do like is that because when the first scene you get, she's not in the house yet, like in Phantasma, which is like basically a haunted house, and
it's like a traveling carnival at this point.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like a traveling carnival, and like. I was worried that we were going to have to wait a while for her to get in the house, but she's like, it's like 3 chapters and then she's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that it started off at a good point. Like it started in the correct port of the story to not be too long at the beginning and then to jump right into it right away. I also feel like because the way that the levels worked, the world building was easy
Mm-hmm.
because you basically described the manor, and she wasn't allowed to leave at the manor, like at her like floor, which meant that they described it once and they have to go back out again.
Yeah.
And then you described each level, but it was like you're also caught up in the game, and she's really only in a room.
Yeah.
So it actually wasn't like a ton of world building that needed to be done because.
And
the way
then
that
she
the
didn't
setting
go
of the
to
book
any
was.
different levels when she was allowed to be.
Yeah, or they didn't describe it. They're just like, oh, and they went searching the house, but they realized that every level of the house actually was exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
So there's that. So that's good. That was good because I was like a little worried that I was gonna get lost and just like the world building and if it was like really slow, but that was good. Trying to think of where I want to start. So I have like many notes. Okay, how do we feel with the games?
I mean, I enjoyed them. They weren't all necessarily like when they described them. I wasn't like, oh, that screams the like level of hell or whatever they're trying to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
Also, how many levels are hell? I thought there were 7 levels of hell.
So the 7th level is the fight to the death if there's more than one person.
But I thought there was 9. They were there for the 9 days. They're there for over a week.
I think so. The first night, they just said you're starting tomorrow. So like the first.
Well, then what's the 8th? The 8th is the one where she had to find out which one was her sister, and she's like, "This is a trick question."
I don't know.
And then the 9th was Blackwell's level.
Technically, yeah.
Because the 9th technically wasn't its own game. It was just meeting Blackwell or figuring out who's Blackwell.
Who the winner is. I don't remember counting the nights the way you did.
Well, they start. It's like day 1 in Phantasma, or like they start the book with like 3 days before Phantasma.
Yeah.
2 days before Phantasma, and that's every chapter is like how many days.
3 days is the day that she goes and gets Genevieve's diary.
Yeah.
And then day 1 is the day she gets into the house, but it doesn't start until the following evening. So she like sleeps through that night and then has to go through a whole new day. So that counts as.
I also could not. I could not place time in this book. Besides
because even she was like, I've only known this guy for a fucking week.
Because like besides the like every chapter just like telling you what day it is, or like how many days she's been in the house, or like it'll have like breaks in the like the page breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like, when is she waking up?
So she's basically.
She doesn't have breakfast. She doesn't have lunch. She has one meal. She's probably skinny as shit.
No, there is food in the dining room.
There's
but
food
she
in the
never
dining
goes to
room.
get it.
But she never eats.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no concept of like, because these challenges they start at night and they
Yeah.
probably go into the night.
Yeah, they're like all night. And then you basically get out in the early morning, like dawn. And then you.
So most
go
of
to
this
sleep.
happens in like late afternoon, evening.
So, but that does make sense because you're basically eating dinner. So let's say you're eating at 6. You're going into the game for like 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the game all night. You get out at 5 a.m. You crash. You wake
And
up
then
8 hours
you get haunted
later.
in the middle of the night by ghouls.
Yeah, and then you crash. Then you wake up 8 hours later, which is like, what, 4 p.m.? You shower, you get dressed, and you go fucking for dinner.
Yeah, but she would wake up earlier because she was on a treasure hunt.
So, like, I guess that kind of makes sense. Okay, the clue didn't make sense to me. He
The
was
heart?
like, you find my heart, the key to my...
The key and a heart. I think it was like that.
So what's the key?
The key was the necklace.
And the heart was inside of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the heart was her.
Oh. Okay.
Because the only way to have him remember is obviously for her to show back up. For her soul to show back up.
Right.
When I didn't get it at the very beginning. I didn't like associate, like I understood the key and she had to go find something, but I understood that the necklace probably had some significance to it when it talked about how it beat like a heart.
Okay.
And synced with her heart.
Yeah. So I did kind of get that, but I was kind of
But
like,
it
what the fuck
wasn't
are you
until
looking
like
for?
the very end where she was like, I gotta pick up the pace with like trying to find this fucking key
Yeah.
for his heart, that I was like, oh, it's her necklace. It's 100% her necklace.
Okay. Did you? I didn't until she showed up on the last level.
You forgot about the sister?
No, until she showed up on the last level, and Blackwell and Salem, the devil who like runs the house, were the same person. I was like, I literally laughed out loud, and I was like, why did I not see that? Why did I not put that together?
I saw that.
I didn't.
I saw obviously that he wasn't just a phantom. Like I was like, he's obviously like, all the demons know him. They all know things that they're not telling him.
Yeah. Because
And, like,
I literally did it. And then when it happened and she was like, oh, I was like, honestly, why did I not get that? Like, why did that not
I
clue
didn't
to me?
expect him to have like to be like the son of the devil, but I did expect him to be like part of the last level. I was like, oh, he's part of this house, and he's
like he is got to be one of the devils.
he's got to be
somehow.
he's got to be somehow part of the games.
Yeah, when she
Because the demons wouldn't have let him hang around in the house.
well, and then they
as
all,
a phantom, and he doesn't understand how phantoms work anyway, so it was just like he's like made up this like being of him being,
because he
so he
also
could fit
called
into
himself Blackwell, which is his true name, and everyone else called him Blackwell as well, but his name as a devil is his quote unquote given name, so Salem is what they called him.
No, his true name is Salem.
No, his true name was Blackwell.
Oh.
And then I kept being like, well, why was everyone calling him by his true name?
I'm confused now.
Like that's why I was so confused.
I thought his true name was Salem.
No, his true name was Blackwell.
But then why is he introducing himself as
That's
Blackwell?
that's why I was confused. I was like, wait, I don't get it.
Why is it such a big deal his dad knows the name Blackwell?
It's kind of like demons, where when you know their full.
I
Like,
know when you know their name, or like Faye, if you know their true name.
yes, it was like that. But his
like,
true name was Blackwell, and
so then why can't all the demons control him?
because he's already like stuck in the house. I don't know.
I think it's like the full name.
That's why I was so confused.
I don't understand why his dad wouldn't know his true name. It's his dad.
I don't know either. That's why I was
That's a plot hole.
confused.
That's a plot hole. We'll just go over that. We'll just skip that.
Okay.
It's fine. He's the son of the devil.
So then, did the dad want him to get her back?
No.
But then why did he set up a loophole?
Because I feel like his dad felt bad for her. He was like, we can't just kill her. He needs hope that she would be reincarnated. Because if she destroyed his soul, it would like the curse wouldn't work properly.
Because that's why I was like, but he did this. Why did he give them an out?
Because that's a curse. That's the whole point of curses, Ayesha.
Is that you have to have like something to look forward to, like a way to get out of the curse.
Well, I don't know.
Am I just thinking too hard?
I think you're thinking too hard. This is why you don't enjoy fantasy. You think too hard.
I'm like,
Because when you think too hard, no fantasy makes sense. Okay?
I guess. I kind of okay. So let's talk about the sister.
I didn't like the sister.
So why didn't you like the sister?
Because the sister, after the sister, like, admitted to basically stealing money from their mom, and then being like, I don't understand what the big deal is.
Wait, no, she didn't steal money.
Yeah, she wrote checks.
No, she wrote the checks for her mom because the mom was like, you need to take these to the bank.
No, she took money.
No.
That's why she was mad. That's why Ophelia was mad at her, because she was like, you stole money.
She did. But then when they had that conversation in the house, Genevieve was like, no, Mom, I found out and confronted her. And then she was trying to make back the money for the manor. And then she sent
But they bought
money
a
to the
whole
bank.
separate house.
But then nobody ever... That was the one thing that...
I was like, if they bought a house, couldn't the bank just repossess that?
But it was, I guess, under a fake name. I don't know. They don't even know where it was.
The house was collateral. I'm assuming they're going to find the house in that second book. Because she put the manor up as collateral, which is why the bank was trying to repossess the house.
Right.
But why didn't they figure out that she bought a house with that fucking loan?
I don't know. Although Blackwell just was like, or Salem, I guess, at the end.
Just call him Blackwell.
He was like, I just fixed it. I just said, nope. They paid it back. The bank was like, okay.
Sure.
Whatever
That's
works.
their wish.
But
what didn't she wish to break his curse, right?
that's what she was going to wish, but then she never...
She didn't get the wish because she ruined the she went in too early.
Yes. Before anybody else had finished. So they didn't actually see if she won or not. So then he was like, you either have to, like, disqualify yourself or, like, I disqualify you. Like, you don't win. Also, okay, let's talk about this love curse thing. So obviously the whole point of the thing is that, like, the devil's son, a.k.a. Blackwell, a.k.a. Salem, fell in love with a mortal, tried to live his best life with this mortal.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy Devil found out and said, no, you're the son of the devil. You need to be in hell. Fuck that girl.
So instead of trying to fix his relationship with his son, he was like,
I'm a killer.
I'm just gonna ruin the rest of your life
Yeah.
by trapping you in a traveling carnival house.
It's a punishment to run this, like, game.
But I don't
where
understand.
mortals get
Okay,
to-
he ran this punishment, and basically the idea was like he either finds the key
Yes.
or it runs its course.
Or the dad decides you're done. Or
Yeah.
lets him do it forever.
Yeah, I don't understand his logic of like, oh yeah, now my son is obviously gonna want to live in hell with me.
I don't know if that was the point. I think the point was to punish him. It was like, fuck it. But then, so then the curse of the house is that if you fall in love in the house, you'll be cursed in some way.
Yeah.
So her parents met in the house,
Yeah.
fell in love, and got cursed. And the curse was that her dad would get progressively more obsessive, and her mom
Would hate him.
would hate him, would get hate him more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So then it just never works out, obviously.
Well, they had
But-
two kids because she got conceived in the house,
Yes.
and then her daughter or her sister got
Conceived after.
conceived after,
But then,
or the second time. Didn't they say they went back?
no, just the dad went back. He kept trying to get back in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So then my question is, do you have to say the love out loud? How did that, because like, so in the
Because
book,
the friend,
so like Lucy
yeah,
had to say it out loud, and then the curse took her because then it hurt to get touched. But the guy didn't get cursed because he didn't love her.
even though he participated in the relationship.
Yeah, and he was like,
I told you not to fall in love with
He
me.
was like-
Oh yeah, because that's how it works.
they said we'd stop before we got feelings. And then Lucy forfeits. So then my question is, do you have to say it fucking out loud? I don't understand. Because then when Ophelia and Blackwell end up in the last level and she's like, I love you. And he's like, don't say it out loud because you'd be cursed. And she's like, no, I want to say it out loud.
Well, because
I was like, bitch, just don't say it out loud.
Well, also,
just
'cause
don't get
he's
cursed.
the devil's son, and he can undo the curse.
But
Can he
only
not?
if she...
But she broke his curse, so then the curse doesn't come into play, right?
No. That's not how... Basically, if she said it out loud, she got
But the-
cursed.
But the epilogue
then-
didn't say she was cursed. So
Yeah, because she had to... The only way that he'd have enough power to reverse her love curse is if she sold her soul to him. But by
But
selling
then-
her soul to him
they live forever together.
Which I guess worked out a happy ending because that's
Because-
what they wanted the
Yeah,
whole time.
that's exactly what she wanted, or they wanted, because obviously he's like, I got my girl forever.
And he was like, you can leave me if you want. And she's like, okay, but I won't. But I was just like, or we could just not say it out loud and not be cursed.
But then she wouldn't live forever.
But
How
can
are
you
we
not
gonna-
still promise? Like, can you not just give him your soul anyway? Like, he's the fucking devil. You can take it any moment.
No, that's not how it works.
I just was like, bitch, just don't say it out loud. I
you know, Ayesha, this is why you don't like fantasy.
This
is why you don't like fantasy.
I'm just looking at all these and being like, I'm fucking confused. Then just don't say it out loud.
You're confused. I'm
just like looking at all these plot holes, being like, I don't get it.
I was just here for vibes. I wasn't here for the plot. I was here for vibes, and I was
like,
here for ghost fucking.
I was like, I don't get it. Just don't say you love him, and then we'll be fine. But nope, she had to say it. And then she got cursed. And then she had to promise him her soul and live with him forever.
Oh, no.
No breakups for you. You're stuck with him.
Oh, no. How is she ever going to live with that?
I mean, it's obviously what they wanted, because, like, happily ever after forever. But still, I was like, okay, so now you're immortal. Congratulations. I don't know. I just was like, just don't say it out loud, bitch.
I didn't understand her, like, necromancy powers. Was she just so she could see ghosts? She just saw ghosts. She could see ghosts and talk to ghosts.
I think so.
But that's it.
Yeah.
So why are people like, oh my god, necromancers are so powerful?
They're not.
They're not. The specters are more powerful and But then she also had like zappy powers,
which was like focusing the magic. I don't know. I didn't quite get that part. Also, this whole time, her sister knew that she had. Like
specter blood. That's why I was like, her sister doesn't like her. The entire time I was like, her sister doesn't like her. Her sister doesn't tell her about her friends outside. She was even thinking that when like Lucy was like, yeah, we're friends outside outside this house. Like we've gone to balls and parties, and she's like, why has my sister like literally never talked to you?
I just thought she was kind of
dumb.
Yeah, like just kind of ditzy, and
I just think she was kind of just selfish, and she just didn't
the thing is, I read the preview at the end of this book, of the next book of Enchantra, and she's kind of she's the same person.
I'm assuming she's the same person.
So she's kind of.
What does she end up with? He's not human.
No, he's like some sort of witch or something, I think. I don't know. I didn't read. I only read it a little bit, and I was like, I'm not going to read the rest of this preview. I don't usually read previews, so...
You know what I didn't like? Is how the last chapter, the last page...
Yeah.
Left in a cliffhanger, and they didn't have the epilogue. I don't like how...
What?
Did you not realize that it ended with, like, him being, like... where I just gotta break the curse, or like, and it goes like black, and then you don't know how it ends. You don't know if they end up together. You don't at the last chapter, and then you get into the epilogue, and they're like, oh, they're together. And I don't like how they use the epilogue.
Oh, like how at the end of the book, she's just like, yes, I promise you my soul, and he's like, okay, I'll break your curse, and then it's the end.
Yeah, because the epilogue should not be considered a chapter. It should be an extra chapter.
Like you're hoping that there was you wanted to see the games like
I wanted to see the game end. I wanted to see them get together. I wanted to see all the conclusions of the book,
of the people,
of the problems of why they went into the freaking house.
Because technically,
and then the epilogue is like domestic bliss down the line.
Because technically, the book ends. Well, they're still in the games.
Yeah.
And now we're just like, yep, they've decided to be together.
The epilogue is not the last chapter. The epilogue is an extra chapter.
Right. But in this case,
you should be able to read the book without the epilogue if you so pleased.
Which you can do. There's just no conclusions to anything besides that they decide to be together.
Well, I guess if you don't want to go into the next book, you don't want to know if they end up together.
Or if it all works out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice that. I don't know.
You notice all the other plot holes, but not this one.
I know. I'm just like, I don't know why. I just keep being like, I don't get it. Like, what? What? Also, like, they never explain why he's a phantom.
He's not a phantom.
No,
he's fake.
Yeah,
it's a fake phantom. It's a fake phantom. Phantoms don't exist.
But that's the. Oh,
that's why she was.
They don't exist.
Or they exist outside the house, but they're like they can't exist within the house.
So then, why? What is? I just don't get.
Everyone was calling him a phantom because they didn't remember who he is. So they're like, oh, it makes sense. You're a phantom. You're able to do all these things that other ghouls can't. But then that's why you can't remember things.
Because I just kept being like, I don't understand why he's a phantom, and
That's the
also the
only-
devil.
I think that's like just because he didn't understand who he was and he couldn't remember who he was. So the only conclusion he could come up with was, I must be a phantom.
Oh,
Because he doesn't
what's his devil's
because
mark?
she was like, oh, other phantoms don't really do this. Like, I've never heard of a phantom being able to do this. And he's like, I don't know about other phantoms. Like, I've never met one before. And that's because he's not really a phantom. It's
Okay. Another thing, I was like, I don't get it. Why is he like? I never. Okay. So what's his devil's mark?
I'm assuming it's somewhere on his body.
They never. I wish they'd said.
I also
it.
didn't like how that cat was a little narc. And like that.
Although the cat stays with him in the
cat
end.
stays with him because they bonded, but also he was narking.
I love how the cat's name is Poe.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Well, it's a gothic romance, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to have Edgar and a Poe in there.
Yeah, I did like that. It's also like a white cat. Like I pictured it like the Godfather cat,
Yeah.
but named Poe. I also at the end in the epilogue, she calls him Salem and not Blackwell, and I was like, "But you've known him as
they've
Blackwell.
known him
Why not just keep
because she's only known him as Blackwell for a week.
So she's just like,
His name is Salem, and we name him. We call him Salem.
but wait, doesn't when he remember, isn't that his thing? When his dad is like, well, what do you want if you win? Like if you break the curse, what? Like I'll give you one thing, and his thing that he asked for
Is people forget his name?
So maybe she doesn't know his name is Blackwell.
No,
maybe
he
she
forgets.
forgets.
No. People don't forget his name. Well, everyone who's known his true name forgets his name,
Which is Blackwell. So maybe that's
so.
what happens.
But he probably would have told her his true name again.
But that's what fucked him in the first place.
But she was tortured to like almost death, basically
She should
death.
have died.
Unbelievable.
I'm just saying.
Unbelievable.
It wasn't explained. They didn't explain that. Like, why did she go from calling him Blackwell this whole time to suddenly being like, oh yeah, not gonna call him by his
Blackwell
other name?
is like his last name,
No, it's not.
but
It's
it
his
is.
true name.
Oh my god, Ayesha.
I'm just saying. I was confused. Okay.
I love how you're like, alien books are great, and you go into a fantasy and you're like, all these plot holes.
And see, but the thing is that I don't go into alien books.
Why can't you just go into a fantasy and be like, I want a good
I
time?
don't know. I can't. I don't have it in me. Okay, what's your favorite part? I mean, they have a lot of sex in this
They have a
book.
lot of sex.
Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite part, I think, was actually so when she has the battle with her greatest fear, which is her OCD like monster, like the monster, and then Blackwell finds her and she's like cut herself with the mirror.
Yeah.
I liked that because I was thinking that it like manifested this thing, but really it manifested like her hurting herself, which is what OCD like that like the metaphor for that I liked. I was like, okay, that was good. Like I liked how that came about.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite scene is like when they were having sex and the sister walked in and been like, "Oh, so you're doing fine. You're doing great."
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And she's like, "You would come." She's like, "How did you come here and have more fun than me?" That is true. That was a good scene. Okay, what was your least favorite part?
I think just the sister in general.
See, my least favorite part was I kept being like, I don't get it. I have so many questions.
Ayesha.
As we discussed, I have many questions that I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Ayesha.
I just can't. Okay, what did you rate this book?
I gave this, I think, a 4 on Goodreads, but I think like a 4.25 or something on.
Really?
I had a good time. Once this book got going, I was like, "This is great."
I did
having a
the
great time.
opposite. I gave it a 4 on Goodreads and a 3.75 on StoryRef. I got a lower
Wow.
because I just kept being like, wait, what? But what about this?
This seems like a user error to me.
Oh my God.
Like, this seems like a you problem and not everyone else's problem.
I just like, I don't know. This actually took me. So you were like, yeah, once you start it and get into it, this will take you. Like
Once
2
the
days.
game starts, you're just like,
This
this
took
is
me
great.
like 5 days to read, which is really long. That's
This
forever.
took me like 2 days to read.
I kept expecting. I just couldn't get. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it
Because you're in a slump.
Was it the slump, or was it because I was like, I don't get it?
No, it's because you're in the slump and you weren't in the mood for it.
Maybe
Read this in the fall and then get back to me.
and then I'll like it more
With
because
the ghosts. The ghosts in the fall.
Okay, so would you reread this?
Probably.
It was really spicy.
I had a good time.
Would you?
The next one they don't fuck as much.
That's because it's an enemies to lovers, whereas this isn't an enemies to lovers. Like I
They've-
wouldn't consider
There's
this.
like
This is like a, I don't know, friends to lovers.
we
more than
literally went
enemies.
over this in tropes.
I don't think this is an enemies to lovers though.
No.
So
I don't know how the sister would become enemies with anyone. She's too dumb. And then she ends up in like this family's curse or something. I think that's what the premise of the next book is.
yeah, the way I understood it was that basically she goes to this family friend's place in Italy and wants to like stay there, and they're like, you can't stay here. And she's like, well, I don't have anywhere fucking to go, so I'm gonna stay here. And they're like, no. And she's like, you're family friends, you need to let me stay here. And so she like basically forces herself into the house, and by forcing herself into the house, when she enters the house, she ends up within the curse. And to get out, they have to like break the curse. So then she goes, well, fuck, I guess I'm helping break this curse because I'm not staying here forever.
I wonder when Ophelia and Black will show up.
So that was the other thing, is I was like,
because they're
so-
like, we're gonna ship you off for a little vacation. We're gonna fuck in the house.
yeah, we're gonna just like be alone, and then we'll just meet you there. See, my question is, so if you get stuck, and we'll have to maybe, I guess, read the next book, but if you get stuck in a curse, the first thing I'm doing is calling my sister,
But there's no phones.
contacting my sister. I don't know.
Send some snail mail. And
The
being
first
like,
thing I'm doing is going,
But
how
how are
the
you
fuck do I
getting-
get my sister here, who is basically married to,
the devil,
yes, literally.
the next of kin of the devil,
If anybody could fix it, it's gonna be him.
a devil Nepal baby.
So, like, why would you, like, that's the first thing I'd be like, where
But
the fuck is what's his
we've
name?
already
He's gonna fix
established
this.
she's dumb. So
So fuck.
like, what? She hasn't told her about any of these friends outside of
Okay,
of
do
the
you
house.
think,
She hasn't told her about the specter powers. Why do you think she would tell her about a fucking curse she's stuck under?
I have an inkling that Lucy will get a book.
I don't know. I have to see who gets introduced.
In the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like,
Because maybe it follows his, like,
but
the male character family.
Lucy also has special powers.
What was her special power?
They never said what they were. 'Cause she could, like, heal herself.
But anyway, she can't touch that fucker anyway. Which was probably a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Or
He
maybe
didn't love you anyway.
maybe the book is about how they break the curse.
Second chance? Could be.
Second chance.
That's a good prediction. Second chance romance.
Honestly,
that's a good prediction.
People should just pay us to come up with ideas for that.
Fuck. Okay, would you reread this?
Yeah.
Would you
You-
recommend this?
I mean, yeah. Obviously, you wouldn't do either. So
I don't. Okay, so I would recommend this. This was good.
It wasn't good. You said it wasn't good.
I just had so many
this entire
questions.
conversation has been about how you didn't like it.
I didn't not like it. I just
You
didn't
just didn't like it.
love it. I didn't love this. I was expecting to really like it, and I didn't. And maybe that's why it fell flat. It's because I just felt like I was gonna like it more than I did. Like, I still gave it a 4, but it just didn't hit for me. Like, I expected to be like, yeah, that was so good, but instead it was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I don't know. Would I read this again? Maybe. Does this make you want to read the second book? I don't know. I feel like
it doesn't put the sister in a good light, in my opinion.
I feel like I'm going to wait to see what reviews are
Before
I
I'll probably
decide.
read the second book.
because
I'll let you know.
they're standalones. Well, I don't know. I guess you'll have to let me know, because there's supposed to be a series of standalones. That's what the series is supposed to be,
Anyway.
and each one is supposed to be about similar to Phantasma, like where it's a game.
Did we get Eddie Blackwell
chapters. No.
chapters, so
No,
it was only
this is-
from her
This is
POV.
only Ophelia.
So I wonder if we're gonna get a single POV in the sister's book, because
From
I
the
might
preview,
go fucking crazy if I have to.
the
Live
preview
in
that
her
I
brain.
read, you only get the sister.
God,
So maybe you'll end up liking her.
maybe I'll end up liking her. Maybe she's still not a good sister.
I just didn't like how they were like when they found each other. Ophelia's like, okay, you need to give up, and I'll get through. And
Because
then,
she's the older sister.
but then Genevieve is like, okay, and I'm like,
Yeah,
bitch, you fucking got here. I would be like, bitch,
she's
no, I fucking got all
she's
the
the
way.
reason why
I just was like, you're
Ophelia's
just gonna
in the
give
house.
up?
My thing was like,
You lasted this long, just be like, all right, you do it.
well, 'cause she's. If you told me if we were gonna get game of death,
And I
game
said,
to the death,
I've got this. You're
and
good.
you're the older sister, and you're like with your full chest was like, I'm gonna finish this for us, and we're not gonna die together. And I'd be like, are you sure? And you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, you
And I'd
would.
be like,
Yeah, you
all
would.
right.
You'd be like, all right, peace. Pack
I'd
my
be like,
shit up
good
and go.
luck. I'll be here to pick you up when you finish.
Actually, wait, before we go, how did you feel about the fingering scene with the other devil?
Oh, that was weird.
That was weird, right?
But then also it was just like, fuck you, Blackwell. Yeah. It wasn't.
I wish.
But she didn't actually like fully get fingered because she was like dry as a fucking desert.
No, I thought she was
No.
wet, and then he like literally put his fingers in, and she was like, "Yeah, no."
No. I think
Also,
she-
apparently, devils practice consent. That was the one thing that I was like, I mean, good for you, but like that just seems like a very undevil thing to do for you to say no and then be like, okay, sorry. That's just a side note. I don't know.
I feel like that devil was just like, well, if I do this and you did say no and Blackwell finds out,
and ultimately he has more power than I do.
ultimately he's the boss here. He just doesn't remember he's the boss.
That's true.
And ultimately I'm still stuck in this fucking house because
They also never explained why
he knew.
and he told the dad.
No, because he didn't tell the dad. That's why he was punished with him.
Oh.
Because he knew and he didn't tell the dad. And then he was like, well, you're going to be fucking punished with him. And then that's why he hates Blackwell, because he's like, Blackwell, why did you put me in this position
Oh, okay.
that I am
didn't
now
quite-
being punished for your sins?
I didn't quite grasp that from like how that all worked out. Maybe he gets a book.
No, I wouldn't want to read that.
He seemed nice. He stopped when she said stop.
I mean, there's the other friend devil that they...
Oh, the one that gives him the book.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the devils will be the.
I don't think they're getting books, Ayesha. Where do they go after the house? They have no home.
Literally, because the house is gone.
The house is gone. Okay?
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading. It's called Mile High Heat, I think.
Okay. Is
And
that
Sarah
the Sarah Blue one?
Yeah. Where it's supposed to be like, they call them the heat. I think they're called the Heat Cutes series,
Okay.
where they have like little meet cutes.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's like kind of in the Heat Haven world.
Okay. Okay. I liked those ones.
But yeah, I'm reading that.
Is it good?
I think it's pretty good. I'm only like a couple chapters in
Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were like
because
that
it
early.
was literally just released
So-
yesterday.
So I got this arc of what the fuck is it called? Oh, Space for Growth. I put it on my thing. Space for Growth by Emily. I want to say Emily Antoinette. Space for Growth. Yeah, Emily Antoinette. Yeah, go me. Okay. And so I got this as an arc, and this is book 3, and they're supposed to be like standalones, but I didn't read the first 2 books because this one just like intrigued me more, and it is an alien.
Oh.
And I can't tell if, because this is an arc, I can't tell if some of the words in the book are spelling mistakes,
Probably.
or if that's just like how these aliens talk and I just don't get it because I didn't read the other books.
I feel like they're spelling mistakes.
Like it's like Z, like Z-E instead of he. And I'm like,
Oh, no, that's probably how they talk.
okay. Because I was like, I don't know if this is just like how the aliens talk. So that's kind of confused me. But I was saying this to you earlier. So I picked up this book thinking, I need something high heat. I need very fast pace. I need a fast burn. And they got 50% in and I was like, they haven't had sex yet. And I'm like, I didn't come here for a slow burn alien. That's not why.
No one goes to Alien for slow burns.
Nobody goes to Alien for slow burns. That's what I mean.
I mean, Ayesha, your correct answer would have been, I'm reading Daydream right now. But
I know, fuck.
you
We
obviously...
all know that I already messed that up. So anyway, now I'm reading Lights Out. And then I'm reading Daydream. So there we are. That's what we're doing now. Not to say that Spacer Grow isn't good, but I'm pausing it halfway. I'm 60% in. I'm gonna pause and come back, finish it after the other two books. How I do that, I don't know. But
unbelievable.
So would you just finish it?
Daydream or the
60% in book?
The Alien book I would have just finished. How many pages is it?
It doesn't say on Goodreads because I did try to look for that. Doesn't say. It says, so to be fair,
So how long does the book when you started it? How long did the estimate tell you?
Well, because I didn't do it on my Kindle. I did it on my Kobo, so it doesn't tell me how long.
I thought Kobo's just tell you that.
I haven't, maybe I don't have that on that setting, but it says that there's over 1,000 pages. But I have it on like,
those are Kobo settings.
I also
Those
do
are
have
Kobo
it on,
pages.
yeah, and I have it on I have it on big font.
Because she's blind too.
You also, I remember you saying that, being like, this font is so big when you were borrowing my other Kobo. But yeah, so I have it on Kobo font. The font is also quite big, so I don't actually know how many pages it is. I would assume over 200.
Hold on. Let's Amazon Prime this or Amazon it.
I looked. Well, I did try to look this up, but I couldn't find it. And then maybe it says it on Storygraph. But either way, oh no, this is the wrong one. On Storygraph, I don't think it says either. But either way, I'm going to pause and come back to it because that's just what I need to do. We're going to get out of this slump.
Well, it's available, Ayesha.
I know it came out like 2 days ago.
It's 420 pages.
Oh, fuck. No wonder it's taking me so long.
You're like
Why
probably,
did I picture
if
it
you're
so
60% in,
big?
you're probably like 220-ish pages
Why
in.
do I keep picking books that are so long?
I don't know.
I just wanted something like quick, like a little novella, but I just couldn't find anything, so I thought that my mistake.
That is your mistake.
Anyway,
Rough.
we're attempting. I don't have anything else to say.
We didn't rate the spice level.
Oh yeah, okay. I give this
it's 3
yeah, I'd say this
because
is
they're
a solid
fucking
3.
everywhere.
And it's like legit. Like they don't just fade to black some of them or like gloss over. Like the scenes are descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like crazy long, but they're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give this a 3 too. Okay. Anything else to say about this book?
No.
Okay. I don't have anything else to add. Next week we'll be doing Daydream. So stay tuned for that. And then April, we technically picked 2 books each. I picked this book, and then I picked one more, and then Lexi's got 2 more to come for April. So in their theme for May, we're still TBDing. But that's all I've got for you guys today. That's all we've got. So as usual, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It's very helpful when you do. It helps people find us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, you can hit us up on Instagram. That's where we are for the most part. Even though we don't post that often, that's kind of where you can find us. Otherwise, we'll be back in your ears next week.
Bye.